In this how-to episode, we are going to be looking at land documents. In our last video, we looked at the process of transfer of property in Kenya, and we said that you need various documents so that you can go through the process successfully. Today, we are going to be looking at all these documents. In the Land Act of 2012, there are two types of tenure to land: the leasehold and the freehold tenure. It is important to note that when you purchase property, what you buy is not the physical infrastructure or the soil or the plants. What you buy is a bundle of rights. This bundle of rights are held in a title deed, and that deed appears as a certificate of title, which usually is for leasehold tenure. Under the certificate of title, what you will have is a specific tenure, say 99 years, or less if you're having an extension. Under this, what you will also find is that it is indicated the area of the property that you're purchasing. It is also indicated the amount of land rent that you pay, because you become a tenant of the government. So you pay a rent to the Commissioner of Lands through Kenya Revenue Authority. Under this title, what you also find is that the boundaries are defined. So the survey plan that you get, which looks like this, has defined boundaries which are indicated by beacons, and they have very specific coordinates, and that is why they are called defined boundaries. So what you go to the Survey of Kenya to get is a survey plan. Under freehold tenure, the document that you get for ownership is a title deed. Most of these tenures are indicated as absolute, which means that you hold the tenure of that land and the title in perpetuity. It means that it doesn't have an end to the holding. You can give it to your children, and your children can give it to their children in perpetuity or to eternity. In this document also, what you will find is that it indicates the title number. It also indicates the area of land that you're holding. It will also indicate the ID number of the person holding, and that is what we indicated you needed to cross-match. It also indicates the survey sheet number, so that when you go to the Survey of Kenya, you know the exact sheet of map that you want to get for that title. In this title also, there is a section that is indicated as an encumbrance section. And this is where we said all the registration for charges, all the registration for caveats will be indicated against the title. Now, these are the two titles that you get. But for you to get this certificate of title, you will also have gotten a certificate of lease. In this certificate of lease, you will be having the specific conditions of lease that you are supposed to adhere to, that are clearly indicated. It is important to study the specific conditions of lease so that you know what you can or cannot do on that land. Under this title also, it is important to note that for the transfer to be done, you do not get a new title like you do in absolute holdings. What is done is that you get your title endorsed. For example, the owner of this title will be indicated at the back of the title through an endorsement. A title endorsement under this under the leasehold titles will look something like this. So when you get a certificate of title, you go to the back of the title, and the last entry, the person on the last entry is the current owner of that land, not the person indicated on the top of the title, as you will note. So you're able to actually tell the whole history of the land ownership of a leasehold parcel as opposed to a freehold title that is under title deeds. We also noted that for you to get to the process of getting these titles, there are other documents that you will need to be conversant with. We said that you are supposed to do a search, and under the searches, we said you can get an official search or an online search. This is what an official search should look like. Under an official search, what you're supposed to check is the nature of title, so it will indicate whether the title is freehold or leasehold. You will also see the area of the land. You will see the name of the title holder, and then under the encumbrance section, you will see whether there are any leases, any charges, or any caveats and cautions that have been placed against that title. If the title is clean, usually all these entries will be indicated as nil, meaning that there are no entries under those sections. If you get an online search, it will look like this. And under the online search, what you will also see are all those areas that I've said. So you get the proprietor section where you will get the name of the owner of the land. And then you get the encumbrance section where you will see whether the title has been charged or not. You will also see whether there are caveats, there are easements, or there are cautions that have been indicated against the title. Under the Land Control Act also, you need to apply for consent to transfer. This usually happens when the land is agricultural and is subject to the approval by the Land Control Board. The form for application looks like that, and after you apply, what you get is a letter of consent that shows you that you are free to transfer or to charge or to amalgamate or to lease that land that is agricultural. In the absence of a letter of consent, whatever transaction you do on agricultural land is usually null and void. So it is very important that you get a letter of consent before you can transfer land to be right with the law and the authorities. The last thing that I want to show is the form of transfer of land. For you to get the land transferred to you, you need to fill this form. And that is why we said you got to have the photo of the person selling to you. You got to have a copy of their ID, a copy of their PIN certificate, so that you can be able to fill this form. And then this form is what both the buyer and the seller sign to indicate that they are both in agreement to do an arm's length transaction. The last thing that I want to show is the survey plans. We said that you got to buy the survey plans from Survey of Kenya, and I've shown you the defined boundaries. You also need to be conversant with the Registry Index Map, the RIM. This is for undefined boundaries, and this usually is the plan you get for agricultural land. I hope now, after seeing all these documents, you do not feel overwhelmed, but you feel that you can be able to see the documents, identify them, and be able to do a land transaction. What I also aim to achieve in this is to show you that because the land process may be a little complicated, you may need the help of a lawyer, a valuer, or a land surveyor. Should you need any of this help, do not hesitate to get in touch with me so that I can guide you on the step-by-step process that you need to go through so that you can successfully get your land transfer. I am also hoping that you will now insist on having a title so that you can comfortably and confidently say that I own land. Let's make sure that our names are in important documents so that we can be counted among the property holders in this country. Thank you.